Brought to you by Penguin. The Ornithologist's Field Guide to Love by India Holton. Read by Elizabeth Knowelden.
For Amaya, with northeasterlies, wild oceans, and love. Chapter 1. For the master ornithologist, trouble is like water off a duck's back. Birds Through a Sherry Glass, H.A. Quirm. Spain, 1890. It was a fine day for birding, almost too fine. Sunlight glazed the sky of northern Spain, unrelieved by cloud or breeze. Heat pressed down on the forest path. Mrs. Quirm and Miss Pickering strolled beneath the shade of hats and lace parasols, employing their white-gloved hands in the manner of fans to cool themselves. Every now and again they lifted delicate silver binoculars to search the surrounding trees. Several birds flitted between branches, singing, courting, and generally participating in occupations typical to the avian species. But the lady's quarry was one bird in particular, far shyer than the common breeds. They had seen glimpses of it throughout the morning, and were intent on pursuit, despite the overbearing weather. "By Jove! I could use a glass of lemonade right now," Mrs. Quirm declared. "Indeed, it is atrociously warm," Miss Pickering agreed. "Rupert!" Mrs. Quirm snapped her gloved fingers. "Lemonade, if you please." Rupert, walking behind her, turned to the contingent of porters, guides, and servants walking behind him. He gestured, and a man hurried forth with bottle and glass. Lemonade was poured, the glass was set on a silver tray, and Rupert presented it. Mrs. Quirm took the drink, but before she could bring it to her robust lips, she sighted something that caused her to gasp. "A bastard! Here, in the forest!" Miss Pickering stared at her with astonishment. One simply did not speak of people born out of wedlock if one was a lady, and in all her 24 years Miss Pickering had met none more ladylike than Hippolyta Quirm, despite the vigorous galumphing of her vocal cords. "You do well to be surprised, Elizabeth," the woman said, in what would have been termed a shout had it come from a less reputable person. "The great bastard has no business being in a forest. It is a bird of the fields." "Oh, a bastard," Beth said with relief. No doubt the heat had suffocated her ear canal, as it was attempting to do with her lungs. She blew restively at a chestnut-brown strand of hair that had slipped over her damp brow. If only it was decent behaviour to remove one's hat in company, or loosen one's collar, or leap naked into a nearby river. Ornithology tended to be a mucky venture. Scuffed shoes, snagged stockings, guano-splattered parasols, but the worst of it was the perspiration. When Hippolyta had announced they were going to Spain in search of the elusive pileated death whistler, Beth had considered feigning illness so as to remain behind. She was British, right through to her tea-flavoured, rain-coloured core, and the thought of a summer without fog and storms horrified her. But in the end, she had been unable to resist the opportunity such an expedition offered. To capture the death whistler would result in universal accolades, and if anyone could pull it off, it was Hippolyta Quirm, field ornithologist, wildly famous authoress of Birds Through a Sherry Glass, and at only 31, a 5-time recipient of England's prestigious Best Birder Award. Beth was pleased to be the woman's associate. The moment they met in Epping Forest, accidentally smacking each other over the head with their nets, while their mutual quarry, a fine specimen of
Sample complete. Ready to continue?